So, Dr. Survé, obviously there was an article in the Daily Maverick which just came out recently talking about, retrenchment processes and the financial performance of the Africa News Agency. In your view, what do you have to say in response to a piece like that, especially when you look at what's happening currently in the media industry in South Africa, where there are a lot of challenges and there are a lot of downsizing happening in various other media corporations. Can you just tell us what your thoughts are?
Well, the Daily Maverick article is nothing new. It is part of a dirty war campaign against myself, Sekunjalo, and the independent media group. If you analyze the articles in Daily Maverick and you read them, there's nothing to the articles. But if you look at the headline of the article and, of course, the focus on myself, it is very clear that it is written by instruction of the editor and the owner, Branko Brankovic, the Serbian, that owns Daily Maverick, with a clear agenda, which is to discredit myself and Sekunjalo. And it's nothing new, let's be frank about it. Daily Maverick has been doing this for many years, and it seems that they've just increased the intensity of the dirty war campaign. They're clearly funded by certain parties to do this, and it's just a matter of time before people reveal who funds Daily Maverick and what is the agenda, because it's easy to make the link between the funder and the intention of the campaign. Mr. Brankovic has never released his funders. I'm fully aware of who his funders are, and I think it's important for the public to understand who's funding the Daily Maverick and the angle that they've taken. So I think before one actually comments on the Anna story, it's important to understand the Daily Maverick is, and Branko Brankovic in particular, the Serbian, with certain connections to certain people out there, is driving a particular agenda and trying, frankly speaking, to taint my reputation, the reputation of Sekunjalo and independent media. And there's an old Goebbels theory: if you tell a lie often enough, people will start believing it. And I mean, that's their strategy, what they are utilizing. But I think in time to come, we will disclose what we know about what they're doing, or they're going to get caught out. You're not going to be able to hide from the public this kind of skullduggery that you're performing, and frankly, dishonesty. It's and for that, there are very many unhappy people that were comfortable at independent media, earning exorbitantly high salaries, while black journalists were earning extremely low salaries. And some of them had a comfortable life. I came along, introduced a system of merit, and that wasn't accepted. There are people out there today that don't want a diversity of viewpoints. They only want a singular narrative. They say that they stand for freedom of the press. They say that, but in truth, what they mean by freedom is that they'll handcuff your one hand and keep you to that side, and so that you only write about what they want you to write about. We, as independent media, the African News Agency, and various other media entities owned by our group, we are not going to be shackled like slaves were by these chains. We are free to think and report about everything, and very accurately. And we are free to do good journalism. And because our journalists have that freedom to do real journalism, to speak about and write about that which the establishment doesn't want them to write about. That's what makes us extremely dangerous to the likes of the Daily Maverick. The Daily Maverick is pulling the wool over the eyes of South Africans today because they pretend to be good journalists, but the reality is they have an agenda, and that agenda is to fool South Africans into supporting certain political individuals and into supporting certain corrupt individuals that they themselves are beneficiaries of.
Yeah, and then obviously it speaks to the other notion that says, nobody cares about the truth if the lie is more interesting. As we've seen with what they've been doing to some of our investigative journalists in the group as well, where they obviously published, I think 2 weeks ago, we published one of the biggest exposés and a contender for Story of the Year in South Africa with the CR17 campaign fund story. And we've seen how some of our own journalists, within the group have been attacked and have been vilified and, have their reputations also tarnished. What do you have to say, about that, and how the likes of Daily Maverick have attacked some of our journals?
Well, I'm proud of our journalists. In fact, I sent some of our editors a note to say how proud I am that all of our newspapers 2 days ago had on the front pages the stories of femicide and the photographs of the women in particular that were killed or assaulted. And I'm proud that we as a media house did that. And so you can't hide the issues facing South Africa today if you're an independent media journalist, because you have the freedom to write about that. Whereas the likes of Daily Maverick have to go to trash cans to go and find information, take it out, or go and find shopping bills and take it out. And that is their perspective. Our journalist life is based on the reality of living in the coloured and African townships of our country, having come through universities and schools and programs without funding. And so, yes, of course, they're going to write differently. Yes, of course, we're going to write the stories of the poor. Yes, of course, we're going to write the stories of the femicide. And yes, of course, we're going to write the stories that opposes the establishment. And the likes of Daily Maverick do not like that. Daily Maverick is there for the establishment because they're funded by the establishment. And they will continue with their dirty war campaign against myself, against independent media, against our journalists. But there's one very important fact in this world. Justice always triumphs, and the truth always triumphs. And eventually, not too long now, South Africans will see the truth and are beginning to see the truth and are beginning to see those, that have hidden behind the likes of Daily Maverick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.